N-acetylcysteine and glutathione. So many people think that if you take N-acetylcysteine, your body will just take that and make glutathione. Well, you hear it all the time from doctors. Doctors think the same thing, but it doesn't actually equate to that. It's like you going to the store and buying flour and thinking that you're going to have pancakes. Yes, flour is a key component, a key ingredient for your pancakes, but there's other things involved as well. Maybe not as much of a portion of the percentage of your other ingredients are playing in the pancake production, but you need them. If you don't have the butter, if you don't have the eggs, then your pancakes are just going to be one pile of powder, maybe mixed in water. That's probably not so good either. So you've got to make sure that you are getting sufficient other ingredients along with the N-acetylcysteine. So making sure I'm live. Yes, I am. And I've got so the research that I'm citing is in the links below, and the links to the glutathione supplements at seeinghealth.com are also below. Plus I'm going to be discussing my pathway of glutathione synthesis and showing you how glutathione is made by your body from cysteine and the steps that are involved and the ingredients involved. Because again, just because you're taking NAC doesn't mean that your body will make glutathione with it. But it can, and it does for a lot of people, but it doesn't always equate to that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen with you here, and I'm going to show you some research papers first that talk about how cysteine is a problem in some certain individuals, okay? And some of these certain individuals are yours truly, me. I don't make glutathione very well, which also explains a potential lifetime of sensitivity to chemicals in the environment. All right, so here is a paper, and the link to this is also below, but here's the title of the paper for you. Okay, glutathione precursor, NAC, improves mismatch negativity in schizophrenia patients. So I'm not going to get into schizophrenia and N-acetylcysteine and glutathione. Okay, this paper, if you want to read about it, you can do that. But my goal today is to provide clarity that NAC does not make glutathione just out of the gate. There's more to it than that. See, even right here, they say, we show that administration of NAC, a glutathione precursor. Okay, so it's a precursor. It helps make glutathione, but it is not glutathione. And they did test some individuals. An increase of glutathione levels in the blood was measured in our patients after NAC treatment, and NAC was absorbed. Okay, so they measured the NAC. And in patients with low brain glutathione, NAC could increase glutathione levels, restoring normal glutathione levels. So you're saying, well, Ben, what are you talking about? You're telling me that N-acetylcysteine doesn't necessarily mean that you're taking glutathione or getting glutathione. Well, well, wait for it. Wait for it. I love this bit. Right here. I'm going to drag my face out of the way, slide myself over here. Love technology. Hopefully that worked. Okay. Right here. Considering that brain glutathione deficiency in schizophrenia seems to be associated with a defect, wait for it, in a key synthesizing enzyme, glutamylcysteine ligase, that conjugates cysteine to glutamate in the first step of glutathione synthesis, a cysteine precursor might not, represent the best substance to use to increase glutathione levels. Substances that bypass this enzyme would represent better choices. However, raising new challenges for their efficient delivery across the blood-brain barrier. So what are they saying here? So in schizophrenia patients, they've identified that the schizophrenic, so individuals who have been diagnosed with schizophrenia, a number of them, according to other research, have a genetic variation that reduces their ability to make glutathione in the brain. And that step is in the enzymatic step is in the process of converting cysteine, which comes from your N-acetylcysteine supplement. Your N-acetylcysteine goes to another gene to try to convert that into something else, which then goes into glutathione. And these individuals have a defect in their ability to convert that cysteine into the next step for making glutathione. So by people with a genetic variation, well, N-acetylcysteine might be a problem. So I'm going to show you here. This is me, okay? So this is my glutathione pathway. So I did my StrateGene test. I don't know if I have a StrateGene kit in here. Do I? Yeah, I think I do, actually. So I spit in the collection tube for this in order to get what you're seeing on the screen, okay? And this here is where you make your, when you swallow N-acetylcysteine, this is where it goes, okay? So you swallow that and it becomes cysteine. Then it has to go through this particular gene, GCLC, to make gamma-glutamylcysteine, which then converts into glutathione, okay? So, but this is a problem because individuals who have genetic variation here, such as myself, have a reduced ability to convert cysteine to gamma-glutamylcysteine. So I gave our N-acetylcysteine to someone who had some lung issues. So people come over our house all the time and I'm giving stuff away. So I ran out of the N-acetylcysteine from Seeking Health. And so Matthew said, Dad, just write NAC in an empty bottle. So here's the NAC from Seeking Health. Amazing. And here is glutathione, okay? These are not the same. If they were the same, I would not be offering N-acetylcysteine and glutathione at Seeking Health. I would just be offering N-acetylcysteine. It's way less expensive. It's way more stable. It's a lot easier to make, but it doesn't work that way. You have to provide both for people because some individuals like myself and possibly you have genetic variations or dirty genes that reduce your ability to synthesize glutathione, dirty genes, okay? There's a chapter in Dirty Genes on glutathione, okay? GST and GPX, chapter 9, detox dilemmas. And I've got it. And my detox dilemma is right here, one of them, okay? And I have others as well. So I'm going to check the chat and see what you all are saying. Okay. So if you got any questions, folks, go ahead and comment below and make them specific to glutathione or N-acetylcysteine, and I'll respond to your questions below. Okay. So that is part of the benefit of you being on live. You can ask questions that hopefully I'll be able to answer. And if I can't answer, I'll just tell you straight up, I can't answer that. Okay. So in order to convert N-acetylcysteine to glutathione, you need to have sufficient energy, ATP, and you need to have sufficient magnesium as well. Okay. So does cysteine equate to glutathione? No. You have two genes that are needed to be clean, and you need cofactors of magnesium, glycine, glutamate, and sufficient energy. And you cannot have the presence of mold or infections because the presence of mold or infections reduce this gene's function. It dirties it. So if you have a dirty GCLC gene due to infections or mold, even if you do not have a genetic variation like I do here, which reduces its ability to convert cysteine to gamma-glutamylcysteine, then your ability to make glutathione is reduced simply because of infections and mold. Well, why is that? Because in the presence of infections, then you don't really want your body to be making a bunch of glutathione, because too much glutathione in the presence of infections reduces your immune system's ability to fight the infections. So the body is inherently brilliant in regulating gene function, and it will slow certain genes down when it needs to, and it will speed genes up when it needs to. So you might look at this and say, well, that's bad. If I have an infection, then my ability to make glutathione goes down. Well, because the toxic compounds that are generated, which glutathione gets rid of, these toxic compounds actually eliminate the infections for you. And you need a healthy balance of glutathione, as I've discussed in another video, to trigger fever. So if you don't have sufficient glutathione, or if you have too little of oxidative stress, then your fever won't trigger. And I talked about that in a previous video. So I'm going to look at some questions here. Susan, you'd love to know when and how to take NAC and glutathione. You have both. You stockpiled it. Smart. Is it right next to your toilet paper? I will answer that in a bit. Glutathione once a day for 4 days seemed to make it hard for me to cope with challenges. Is that due to helping my liver cleanse, but maybe dump too much detox at once? Talk about that in a second. I've heard you talking about homocysteine being too low and not being able to make glutathione. Can you elaborate on that? Very good question. Yes. What do you do with that genetic variant? I will show you. Are these genetic variations more common in certain ethnic groups? Absolutely. And yes, I have Irish heritage, I have English heritage, and I have some like Slavic in me as well. So great questions, and I will start hitting them bit by bit. So to answer the homocysteine one first, since it makes the most sense, because it's right in front of me, here's homocysteine. Okay, we have this negative thinking about homocysteine. You hear it all the time from doctors, like, oh, your homocysteine is too high. Well, hopefully your doctors are measuring your homocysteine. Let's start there. And you have to have healthy levels of homocysteine. If you do not, then there's problems. High homocysteine is associated with cardiovascular disease. Low homocysteine is associated with low glutathione and weak methylation status and a lot of other issues. Crazy that no lab actually has a too low of glutathione or too low of homocysteine. They just show greater than 15 micromoles per liter of homocysteine is too high, but they don't say anything about homocysteine being too low. So if your homocysteine is too low, can your body make glutathione? Well, no, it's a necessary ingredient. Look, all these steps here, all these things colored in yellow are needed in order to make the end product right here. See the glutathione? If you follow these black arrows, these bubbles are genes. The black is substrate for the next gene in line. So if you don't have all the ingredients to make pancakes, if you don't have the flour, the eggs, the vanilla extract, the milk, you're not making pancakes. You got to go to the store. If your body does not have homocysteine, it cannot make cysteine, okay? It can't do it. And if you don't have sufficient cysteine, it can't make gamma-glutamylcysteine. So your body will actually break apart your glutathione in order to make cysteine. Yeah, so that's a problem. So in short, you have to have sufficient homocysteine levels in order to make glutathione levels in a healthy amount. And that is a whole nother video. It's very easy to get lost in transitions here. There's a lot to talk about, so I'm going to try to keep it focused. But a healthy homocysteine level, you want it between 6 to 8 micromoles per liter. Anything less than 6 is too low. Anything higher than 8 to 9, let's say higher than 8, is a problem and you need to reduce it. Okay? All right. What do I do with that genetic variant? Okay, so as I pointed out, research has shown that schizophrenics have a reduced ability to make glutathione, and they've identified lower glutathione levels in their brain, which then makes their wiring and the neurotransmitters funky, which then makes their actions funky. And we've labeled those funky neurotransmitters and actions, or those funky actions in schizophrenic, as schizophrenia. So schizophrenia is just a term to categorize people with a certain subset of symptoms. But what's really going on is their neurotransmitters in their brain are off, and it's off because of high oxidative stress and low levels of glutathione, and amongst other things. But glutathione is a big one. If you don't have sufficient glutathione, your neurotransmitters are a mess. Okay? So if I have this genetic variation, which I do right here, GCLC, is slower, I'm going to click it. So I clicked it with my mouse, and it's going to tell me what this gene is. Okay, so this is a GCLC gene, and it expresses an enzyme which combines glutamate with cysteine to form another complex, which then starts to make my glutathione. Okay, this gene is stimulated by pro-oxidants. So when the immune system is generating a lot of oxidative stress, this gene will be stimulated at some point to make more glutathione. Okay. So this is the genetic variation that I have, and it may reduce the induction of the enzyme by oxidants like hydrogen peroxide, resulting in lower levels of reduced glutathione. So I'm going to ask you, knowing this, if this was your genetic report, okay, if this was you and you have a GCLC gene like myself that is slower, would you supplement with cysteine? Or would you supplement with glutathione? Comment below. And there's a delay, but go ahead and share your comments below. So if I have a genetic variation in GCLC gene, which makes it harder for me to convert cysteine to gamma-glutamylcysteine, which then makes glutathione, would I want to be supplementing with this NAC stuff? Or would I want to be supplementing with glutathione directly? What do you think? Tim's commented. Thank you, Tim. Why? So I'm going to ask you why as well. So Tim says glutathione. Straya says glutathione. Anybody for NAC? All right, Heather says glutathione. All right, I don't see any NAC takers, and that's great, because if you're driving to work and the main route that you go to work is clogged, then you have to find another way to go around that area to get to work, right? So I have a clog here in my ability to synthesize glutathione. So if I take cysteine, I might not make my gamma-glutamylcysteine because this gene is not very functional right here. This gene may reduce the induction of the enzyme by oxidants like hydrogen peroxide, resulting in lower levels of reduced glutathione. Okay, so if I just took cysteine, that cysteine can go this way to make reactive cysteine in the presence of more iron, which makes reactive nitrogen species, which then would make my body hurt. I could be getting headaches, migraines, irritability, neurotransmitter issues, and so on, because cysteine is not going to go this way, south, because it's clogged, so it's going to go to the right or to the left. Okay, so if I go to the right, I'm going to be making reactive cysteine, and that's going to cause all sorts of hell in my body, especially in the presence of high iron. And individuals who have hemochromatosis, or taking a lot of iron, or men, we don't have menses every month, or we're eating a lot of steak. Carnivore diet is a big thing nowadays. I really wonder what iron levels are doing in the carnivore diet. I'm a fan of Paul Saladino and his work and Sean Baker's work, but I think we need to be watching our serum ferritin. Or cysteine can go down this way, right, to making more sulfites, and sulfites are toxic. Sulfites trigger glutamate in the brain and make you irritable and crazy and cranky, and cause neurotransmitter issues. So you've got to be mindful of how much these nutrients you're getting and where they go in your body, because they go somewhere. So just because you think NAC is good for you or glutathione is good for you, those compounds that you swallow in your mouth have to go somewhere in your body. It doesn't just go in your mouth and pee or poop out. They go and they react in various different ways. And by looking at the StrateGene pathway in front of you, you can tell where it's going to go. And if you start seeing red words on here, you're like, oh, damn, that's not very good. Okay. So in short, N-acetylcysteine does not make glutathione directly. It has to go through two different genes in order to do so. If you're like me, which is quite common, to have a slower GCLC gene, then your ability to make glutathione from N-acetylcysteine is even lower. And if you have mycotoxins or infections or mold, then that's also going to cause other issues in production, along with arsenic and reactive nitrogen species will also slow these genes down. Arsenic is pervasive. It's everywhere. Okay. So if you are taking N-acetylcysteine and you see improvement, great, right? Keep going with it. If you're taking glutathione and you see improvement, great, keep going with it. If you're taking N-acetylcysteine and you are not seeing improvement, maybe you have a genetic variation like myself. Maybe you've got mycotoxins in your body or mold exposures, so your body cannot actually convert that N-acetylcysteine to glutathione. And mold people, or folks who are exposed to mold, are low glutathione, and mycotoxins really interfere with that. So you need to be supplementing directly with glutathione. Okay. And I'll talk about how and when in a second. Oh, my audio switched again. Dang it. Or did it? Let's see. No, we're good. So does my audio not sound good? Hopefully it sounds all right. I've got a good microphone. Okay. So Heather says, well, Jill, let's go with Jill here. Yeah, Lori and Striaz say that because the GCLC gene is slow, it can't convert very efficiently. So because this particular gene is slow, it would be good to supplement with glutathione directly instead of taking N-acetylcysteine above here. Okay. Okay. Audio's good. Thanks, Jill. Headphones, audio is only one channel. Okay. There is a way for me, Peter, to improve that. I'll work on that next time. I got a video actually from one of my guys at Seeking Health who told me to do that. I thought I fixed it, but obviously I didn't. I'll work on it. Thank you. So how can you repair this pathway? According to Jill, your daughter's having febrile seizures. Recent research articles are showing febrile seizures lead to depressive mental disorders as adults. She supplements with glutathione. Okay, so doing a genetic test, Jill, would be something to consider. So getting a genetic test and seeing not only her glutathione genes, but also her neurotransmitter genes, say dopamine and folate and serotonin would be something to consider. And I'm going to show you what those look like here. So here is the serotonin pathway. So this is my serotonin pathway. So I have a reduced ability to make serotonin, and I eliminate it very quickly. So I'm susceptible to being sad a little bit, okay? But I transport serotonin very quickly to my serotonin receptors, but my serotonin receptors are also a bit less sensitive. So not only is my serotonin production reduced, but my ability to clear serotonin is faster, and my receptors, which then activate the serotonin that's in my body, are less sensitive, which then makes me go and run and eat carbs and junk food. And if you zoom in, you can see here that the receptors are very sensitive to pesticides. Okay, so if they're sensitive to pesticides, and if I'm being exposed to pesticides somehow, maybe I go to Hawaii, or the pesticides are sprayed all the time, or I am spraying them myself, or I've got them around my home, or I'm eating non-organic strawberries full of pesticides. Organophosphates, for example, are huge on strawberries. That's going to cause some serotonin issues in my brain, because the organophosphates are going to be binding to my serotonin receptors instead of my serotonin. So whole bunch of stuff here in your StrateGene report. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the glutathione. But repairing this pathway, it is a complicated thing, but all I will say for now is to support this roadblock here for this slow GCLC gene, I would just supplement directly with glutathione instead of taking N-acetyl supplements. Okay, so you can supplement directly with the liposomal glutathione plus from Seeing Health. We also have capsules of glutathione, which I was going to show you, but I gave those away too, so I don't have them. If you are sensitive to glutathione and you look at your glutathione pathway and it's like, God, my glutathione pathway sucks, but I'm sensitive to glutathione. Every time I take it, I get headaches, migraines, or I become irritable, or I have difficulty falling asleep. Those are common glutathione side effects. Then I would be reaching for this very comprehensive, broad spectrum and very stable and very well tolerated antioxidant. So PQQ is extremely well tolerated, and it's a small lozenge, and it basically has a very simple, subtle taste. But that's it. That's how small it is, and it can make your teeth blue or your tongue blue because it's a natural fermentation. No, it does not increase histamine. It's just a fermented ingredient, but you can just bite it a couple times and swallow it, and you will bypass that blue issue. Okay. IV glutathione. I would be very careful with IV glutathione. Some people do very, very well with IV glutathione. Here's my comment on that. Okay, if you are getting a lot of glutathione, let's talk about how to dose glutathione right now. So this transitions to that. So there are ways to increase your glutathione levels. Eating eggs, eating high sulfur components in your food. So cauliflower, broccoli, eggs, sauerkraut, asparagus, onions, broccoli sprouts, radish sprouts. Those are great, but if you've ever grown radish sprouts and broccoli sprouts, they reek, they stink your home up, and they're very, very powerful to eat. And you can't eat that much of them because they're so potent to eat. I have grown them myself, but they're very hard to eat, but you can. So if you want to get glutathione from sprouts, it's broccoli sprouts mixed with some radish sprouts, because the radish helps activate some component in the broccoli. I always forget the scientific names, which then activates it, and you get a good boost of glutathione. Eating eggs is also great. Vegans and vegetarians, you are a very high risk of low glutathione levels. So I would be supplementing with glutathione. I'm quite sure, but not positive, that our glutathione plus is vegan and vegetarian, and you can be supporting glutathione directly with that. Our capsules are also vegetarian, I believe, in the glutathione plus. Now, how to take it. You want to be taking glutathione in small amounts more frequently. It's better than taking a large amount less frequently. The half-life of glutathione is about 12 minutes. So by you taking, say, you want to go nuts, it's like, oh, I just got exposed to a bunch of chlorine, formaldehyde, and so on. I'm going to take a big dose of this stuff. Well, you can, but I wouldn't. So let me give you an example. I was in Eastern Washington a few years ago, and I got out of the car stupidly to video a tractor spraying an apple orchard. And I was downwind of that tractor. He was far away, but I was downwind, and I didn't know I was downwind until I got out of the car, and I could smell the whatever he was spraying, the herbicides or pesticides, all over the apple buds. And apple's probably the number one. Washington is number one in the nation, I believe, maybe even the world, for growing apples. But there's a lot of pesticides and herbicides sprayed on apples, and I inhaled that crap. And I will tell you, I got so sick so fast, possibly because of my gamma-glutamyl ligase gene block, as you've seen on my report. I don't know. But I got in the car, and yes, Ben has, like talking to myself in first person sometimes, I had glutathione in there by chance. I don't know how, but I did. I think because we came back from a trip and I knew we were going to Eastern Washington, which is full of pesticides and herbicides. So I actually brought glutathione with me. What a dork. But I did it. And thankfully I did, because I burned through a half a bottle of this stuff in about an hour and a half during the drive home. I would take a little bit of glutathione, probably half a teaspoon to a teaspoon. I would hold it. I would feel my head clear a little bit, and then I would swallow it, and then I would continue driving. And then, no kidding, when about 15 minutes later, my head was foggy again. And I took more glutathione. It cleared. In 15 minutes, it was foggy again. And so I just kept taking it. I kept taking it like every 15 minutes until it was, or I kept taking it until I started, when my head got a bit foggy again, I would take it. So a sign of taking glutathione is a foggy head or reduced vision. If your vision starts getting blurry after a while, some people had this recent viral illness that's going around everywhere, and they noticed their vision was very blurry, and that is because their glutathione levels were tanked. And glutathione levels are tanked during this infection, and so glutathione levels are stored in the eye, and they got blurry vision. You take glutathione, your eyes become, you will notice right away that your vision improves. So I like smaller amounts of glutathione taken more frequently, and you wait for the head to clear or the vision to brighten. And if it doesn't, you take more. If it doesn't, you take more over a period of you wait, say 10 minutes or so, and you take more. And then once you're good and your brain is clear and your eyes feel better, or your mood is better, or whatever was ailing you is better, then you're done. And the next day, you wake up, you walk around, you do stuff around the house, and you check in. How's my brain feel? Is my brain kind of foggy? Are my eyes kind of not so bright? Did I get exposed to a bunch of chlorine? Did I swim in a public pool that has a lot of chlorine in it? Did I just remodel my home and have a lot of formaldehyde exposure from the cabinets? Did I just buy a mattress, a foam mattress, which is just leaking formaldehyde like crazy? Those are all times when you want to be taking some glutathione. So I'm going to take a little shot of this. I feel my head is a little bit hazy right now. Darkness, I can't really tell because it's dark and I'm wearing the blue blocks. But I'm going to take a little shot to see if my head clears up. It's not always glutathione. Sometimes it's dehydration, and you need electrolytes instead, which I always keep on my desk along with a water bottle here. So stainless steel, not plastic. So that's about a teaspoon I just took. I'm waiting. Yeah, head's clearing. I'm not bullshitting you. That fast. Still clearing. I'm still holding it. And it starts here and it goes out. That's how it clears my head. Everybody's probably a bit different, but it starts central and it goes out that way for me. And then the effect continues to ramp up. I swallowed it now, but it's still getting clearer and clearer. And the taste is funky, and the smell is terrible. So if you're going anywhere public and you take a shot of this stuff, have some xylitol gum or something to neutralize it, because you're not going to get kissed, or people will stand very far away from you. It's sulfury. It's very, very sulfury. If you don't want to deal with that taste, you take the capsules. So we have the exact same formula in capsules. It is not liposomal. But I love the liposomal because I feel the effect instantly. I take the capsule of glutathione, I feel energy, but I don't feel my brain clearing. So that's, it's still, yeah, I'm starting to get a buzz now. It's, yeah. And if you take too much glutathione, you're going to get anxiousness, irritable, headaches. And so that is a sign that you're taking too much. There's a sweet spot with glutathione. There's a sweet spot probably with all supplements. So you want to hit the sweet spot with glutathione. So if your mood is good, your head is not foggy, and your eyes aren't blurry, then I wouldn't be touching the glutathione. Okay. And again, pesticides, herbicides, formaldehydes, chlorines, arsenic, a lot of other stuff too, which I can't think of. Glutathione is going to be great for you. Answer some questions here. Susan, great point. I'm very sensitive. I'm not sensitive. I'm very aware of how my body feels. Maybe because I'm a doctor. Maybe I've been listening to it for a long, long time. So I think what you will notice, I think you might not notice brain fog because you've been living with it for so long that when it goes away, you're going to be like, oh, that's what my head should feel like. So I noticed my head was just a little bit heavier. And if I notice that my head is a bit heavier up here, then that's time for me to get electrolytes. Doesn't always fix it. It's time for me to get glutathione. Doesn't always fix it. Sometimes I need thiamine. Doesn't always fix it. Sometimes I need methylfolate. Doesn't always fix it, right? But you learn to try certain things when. And so for me, right now, the glutathione was the magic bullet because I have been using the electrolytes today, twice already today. Once I worked out, and again, I took another serving of it this afternoon when I got in the office. So I would just invite you, Susan, just to try it and do what I did. Hold it in your mouth, feel your head, or be aware of your head. And you're going to be like, oh my God, he's not bullshitting me. I actually feel, my head clearing right now. And then if you pick a spot in the distance during the day, preferably, or in your home at night without blue blocks on your face, do you see things brightening or improving in vision? That is also another sign. That is what kids say all the time when they take our glutathione. The first thing I always ask them, they go, what does this do? I said, I don't know, you tell me. And then they take it and they're like, my vision's a lot brighter and my head's clearer. Those are the top two things they say. It will help moods for various reasons, but it'll help balance levels of neurotransmitters, yes. Nancy, you just joined now. You have a question. Why do some people feel better taking Knack than glutathione? It's a good question. I don't have an immediate answer for that. I think maybe they're taking too much glutathione, and the N-acetylcysteine, the body will direct how it will make it. So if you're taking cysteine right here, okay, so if you're taking cysteine, your body will take that cysteine and it will take what it needs to make glutathione. And then it will take the rest of the cysteine, hopefully go this way to make sulfites, and then you'll pee it out, okay? So you'll eventually pee out the excessive sulfur, and you'll also maybe need the taurine, okay? So your body will take the cysteine that it needs to make the sweet spot of glutathione that it needs, and then it will disperse the rest of the cysteine, hopefully in an ideal place in the body to make too much glutathione. Look here, you see this term, negative feedback? Negative feedback is when the body will say, all right, I've made enough of this, or you've swallowed enough of it. I don't want to make any more. It's enough. So it's like you're making pancakes for your kids and you still got the dough in the blender and you're about to pour it in the pan, but your kid says, Mom, Dad, I'm full. Don't make any more. You still have the pancake mix in the blender, but you haven't made the glutathione yet, or you have the ability to, okay? So you've got the glutathione in the body is at a sufficient level. It tells this particular gene, stop converting cysteine into making more glutathione. So then that cysteine will go and make taurine or sulfites. Sulfites aren't good, but then you'll eventually pee it out, okay? So I think that is why one of the reasons why people do better on N-acetylcysteine than glutathione, because I believe they're just taking too much. So use less. Having a liquid like this allows you to dispense just even a few drops. This stuff is powerful. It's powerful stuff. And we're making another type of glutathione, which I'm very excited about, which I'm not going to tell you what we're doing, which will deliver it even faster. And it's at a way lower potency. But I'm super excited for it. So we'll get there when we get there. But I think that's one reason why people tolerate the NAC better than the glutathione. Someone asked earlier, the great question, does supplementing impede your body's natural production if you're on it for too long? Yes, it does. Right here, negative feedback. So, but what people need to understand is genes are dynamic. Just because you took, glutathione as a supplement doesn't mean that the body will stop making glutathione forever. It's at that moment in time, it is not going to make more glutathione. If I open the fridge and I see that my wife has got a dozen eggs, I'm not going to go to the store and buy another dozen eggs. But once those dozen eggs are run out and I open the fridge, I'm like, damn, we need more eggs. Your body is going to be saying, oh, you just took a shot of this glutathione. Well, we don't need to make more glutathione. Thank you. We're going to rest. We're going to use the cysteine for other stuff. And, oh, now the glutathione levels are low. Now we need to kick in again and make more. So genes are dynamic. Don't forget that. They are very sensitive to the incoming nutrients, incoming chemicals, the incoming infections, and they will work when they need to work, and they will stop working when they don't need to work. Now, you can bombard genes heavily. Drugs are a classic example. If you are drinking a lot of alcohol, or you're taking cocaine or methamphetamines, those will downregulate the receptors in your brains, and you'll have to take more and more cocaine to get that high. With glutathione, you're not going to get addicted to glutathione. You're just going to use it intermittently, and you're going to take it as needed. If you take it too much, you're going to get the irritability, the anxiousness, and I'll do a video on that, and I will walk through it, because glutathione side effects are real. Rochelle, motion sickness. Motion sickness, that's histamine block plus. Glutathione might help because histamine metabolism does need glutathione, but histamine block plus from Seeing Health is more what you need for motion sickness. So I'm going to show you here. So I thought that N-acetylcysteine was a mucolytic, and I thought that glutathione was not a mucolytic. Lytic meaning break, muco meaning mucus. So a mucolytic is something that breaks mucus. So N-acetylcysteine is a mucolytic. So right here, where is it? Knew I wasn't going to find it. Where is it? Well, then I'll go here. All right. So glutathione plays several important roles in the body. One, it's a primary water-soluble antioxidant. Two, it's a mucolytic capable of cleaving disulfide bonds. And three, it regulates the immune system function. So glutathione itself is a mucolytic, and so is N-acetylcysteine. Oh, right here, the title. Oh my goodness. Yeah, N-acetylcysteine mucolysis. All right. So it is a mucolytic, meaning it can break down mucus. So right here. N-acetylcysteine, therefore, may influence mucin expression, and it plays a role as a mucolytic agent. Okay, and in this review they focus on the mucolysis of NAC. Okay, so both NAC and glutathione are mucolytic. So if you feel that your lungs have a lot of mucus, or your sinuses have a lot of mucus, and you want to support healthier levels of mucus, then I would be choosing either N-acetylcysteine or glutathione. Is there a better time of day to take glutathione? Yes, I do not like taking glutathione. So it's 7:15 p.m. here in Seattle. That's a bit close for comfort to bed, actually. It gives you quite a bit of energy, and it gives you quite a bit of energy because it really supports neurotransmitter production and supports your mitochondrial health. So you've got to be, I would say do not take glutathione within 5 hours of bedtime on the suggested use. I do not say that. I should though. Oh no, I do, right here. Suggested use. Do not take within 3 hours of bedtime. All right, that's blurry for you. So I'm not going to bed for 3 hours. I should, but I'm not. Glutamic acid and glutamate, your body flips them around. So your body will make glutamic acid and glutamate, and I'm not entirely versed on that and how it works, but it can switch them around. Nebulizing glutathione can be great. Yes. Can you nebulize our glutathione? I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't know if you can nebulize the seeking of glutathione or not. I like to take glutathione any time of the day except within 3 hours of bedtime. I like taking it when I feel my head is a bit foggy, when my eyes are a bit fatigued, or my head is heavy, or when I get exposed to things. So maybe if you go to the store and you walk down the aisle of chemicals, or you're in your yard and you smell scented dryer sheets from your lovely neighbor, or you are exposed to, chlorine in swimming pools or formaldehyde because you got a new construction home, or you've got new carpet in your home. If you got new carpet at home, new cabinets, you got formaldehyde, and you better be getting some glutathione in your body frequently, smaller amounts, more frequently, but not within 3 hours of bedtime. Peter, do I have extra sodium in my electrolytes? Yes, we have some extra sodium in here, but it's actually pretty low. We have way more potassium, basically a 5-to-1 ratio. So we have 5 parts potassium to about 1 part of sodium. If you need more sodium, you just add salt to your optimal electrolyte. I figure that most people get too much sodium as it is, but if you are sweating profusely or your adrenals are tired, then definitely be adding more sodium to optimal electrolyte. Okay. Glutathione really kicked my ass last week when I had an IV of it. Cysteine burns in the IV. Ouch, I didn't think about that. So glutathione IV, I did want to talk about that. You guys had a question about that, and gals. Glutathione as an IV, I think is, I don't want to use the word dangerous, but I don't like it. I've heard from many times, I used to do conferences all around the world teaching doctors on various things like we're talking about right now. But we all can be learning this stuff, not just doctors. So not a lot of doctors, but I heard from doctors that sometimes their patients who are taking IV glutathione had side effects like difficulty breathing, or crazy emotional outbursts or moods, or horrible headaches and migraines. And I was like, yeah, I bet. They're like, why is that? And I explained it. I explained the side effects. I'll do another video on glutathione side effects and dive in deeper on that one for you all. I'm not going to do it tonight because this video will get too long. But yes, IV glutathione can be very problematic because you're getting a huge glutathione load, which then is going to tell the body to stop making glutathione, which then is going to increase the amount of cysteine and glutamate and sulfites. And these things can be very, and reactive cysteines, which can be very hard on the brain. So you're going to get high levels of glutamate. You're going to get high levels of sulfites, which then increase glutamate even more. And then the reactive cysteine can be damaging the proteins and reducing their ability to function. So be very careful with IV glutathione. I am not a fan personally. I don't like it. I'd much rather you supplement with glutathione, drop doses of the liposomal, or you can do the capsules of the glutathione that we also have. Of course, I'm a bit biased because I have a supplement company, but as a health professional, if I was seeing patients in the clinic setting, I would not be using IV glutathione unless it was an emergency situation, and I'd probably be using IV N-acetylcysteine with a buffering agent so it wouldn't burn so damn bad. So that's my thoughts on that. So let me share some the different glutathione supplements at Seeing Health. So at seeinghealth.com. So if you come here at Seeing Health, you come to the shop, and you can click that, or you can type in the search bar. But I like going to the glutathione category directly because we have this blurb up here for you all to read. So you can read this through here. We talk about the chemicals and formaldehyde and chlorine, environmental toxins like mold, hydrogen peroxide from exercise, and being stressed out. Actually, your body produces a lot of hydrogen peroxide from your neurotransmitter serotonin. So that's important to know. So here we've got all sorts of good information here for you to read, and then you can learn. So we talk about how to take it, holding it. So all the stuff I've basically shared with you now is kind of written here, and how, if glutathione makes you worse, stop using it and start using these things instead, and then retry using the glutathione again. So we do have N-acetylcysteine. I know N-acetylcysteine is very hard to find now, so we do have that for you. We have, supply goes quick with NAC, but I believe Chad, he's head of purchasing, is on it. And then we have the liposomal glutathione and liposomal glutathione plus. The difference between these two is that the glutathione plus has additional cofactors to help your body use the glutathione and recycle the used up damaged glutathione. If you are an individual who is more sensitive to glutathione and you typically don't do well with glutathione, the plus is for you, and use it in smaller amounts. If you've never used glutathione before, I still recommend using the plus in a smaller amount because the likelihood of you having a better outcome of using the glutathione plus is higher. The liposomal glutathione is for individuals who tolerate glutathione very well, and they're fine with it, and they're also taking a multivitamin, and they're getting the additional cofactors. So if you look at the liposomal glutathione itself, and you look at the label, we have, I'll just go here, we have riboflavin, selenium, molybdenum, which helps metabolize sulfites. Selenium helps your body use the glutathione. Riboflavin helps recycle the damaged glutathione, and the PQQ helps keep it less oxidized, and also helps support some of the oxidative stress as well. Okay, and if you, I'm trying to find people here saying that they didn't do well with regular glutathione, but they use this one. But you can go through here on your own and read about it. But yeah, not the best taste. It is not. We're working on that now. I mean, we're always working on best taste, but glutathione is a hard one. But I've got it dialed in, I think, for a next upcoming supplement. The regular glutathione just has glutathione in here. So this has 350 milligrams per teaspoon. The regular liposomal glutathione has 500 milligrams of glutathione per teaspoon, which is a fair bit. And then we have the capsules for you as well, and right here. So we have the glutathione capsules just regular, and then we have the plus capsules as well. So it's just in a tiny little capsule, okay? Compared to an almond, it's quite small, and the supplement facts are pretty much the same, but we have 100 milligrams in here, which is good because the S-acetylglutathione is actually pretty darn potent compared to just reduced glutathione. So you can get those at Seeking Health, and we have free shipping, and we ship typically same day if you order before 2:00 p.m. Pacific time. Leah, there's another doctor that makes glutathione supplements who says the same thing about IV. Yeah, it's yeah, and Megan says glutathione IVs have saved her from mold toxicity. So, everyone's different. So just be mindful that if you're doing a glutathione IV, that maybe the practitioners. So if you're doing a glutathione IV, you might want to talk with your doctor about adding riboflavin and molybdenum and selenium. Selenium, you got to be careful. Selenium in too high amounts can be a problem. Okay, but molybdenum added to the IV could be a game changer, and adding riboflavin to the IV could also be a game changer. So if you're doing IV glutathione, talk with your doctor to add the riboflavin and molybdenum to the IV, and the outcome probably be way, way, way better. Can pregnant women take Tylenol or take glutathione? High risk pregnancy women take glutathione, and it showed benefit. They do not do studies on women who have healthy pregnancies, unfortunately. Getting the ability to do research on pregnant women is pretty tough. So it's limited. I would like to see some studies done on this, and Seeking Health is actually getting in the position to start doing some clinical research ourselves, since we're big enough now. And we've got a lot of doctors using our supplements all across the world, so we can easily get clinical trials going. So after we launch our new website, which will be this year, hopefully in a few months, you'll be getting a way better website to use and browse. Then we'll have some more bandwidth to do some more clinical trials. But I cannot comfortably say glutathione is safe during pregnancy. If my wife was exposed to formaldehyde and chlorines and what have you during pregnancy, I would be giving her some glutathione for sure. But it would definitely not be something I give it to her every day. And you can use PQQ during pregnancy, which is safe. Actually, we have, so this stuff here, PQQ, we actually have PQQ in our optimal prenatal capsules now. That's new. That's an improvement, because I found research on that in pregnancy, and it's actually pretty amazing. So I'd be recommending that. You can do glutathione while you're breastfeeding. That's no problem. Jill says that she took glutathione throughout her pregnancy and she has a healthy baby boy. Awesome, Jill. Thank you. Curious to know if your doctor recommended that, or your OB, your midwife, or you just took it on your own. But whatever, I'm glad you had a healthy outcome. Selenium, how much is too much? Just measure blood levels. And if you're feeling fine, great. Just remember, nutrients interact with other nutrients, and there's always potential for too much. Did I ever figure out why PQQ discolors the mouth? Yes, it's just a microbial fermentation, and it's well, the specific blue, Lisa, that's true. I don't think I've dialed in the true reasoning for it, but it has to do with the pH, because it doesn't always turn your mouth blue. And I did talk with one of our manufacturers, and they say if you mix it with ascorbic acid, then the likelihood of it turning your mouth blue is a lot less. So I'm actually going to be working on adding ascorbic acid to our lozenge to see if that helps minimize. That's another project that we have on top of all the other ones. Leah, yeah, doctors say folic acid is safe in pregnancy. Just saying, that's true. Yeah. Jill said her primary care practitioner had her on the glutathione. She's breastfeeding now and she takes PQQ instead. Has a history of heavy metal toxicity, and she didn't want you detoxing while pregnancy or while breastfeeding. Didn't seem to be a problem during pregnancy. Okay, great. All right, so I hope that helps all. You all had some great questions, and thanks for that. It's a lot more fun doing these videos when you have questions. So N-acetylcysteine does not always make your glutathione, especially if you have genetic variations, such as myself, in reducing my ability to make glutathione. But Dr. Bruce Ames talks about if you give a lot of a cofactor or increased substrate, sometimes the enzymes will work better. So maybe if you load up with N-acetylcysteine, it can push through a slower GCLC gene, but I've not read research specifically on that. So I just take the glutathione directly, and I experience benefit very, very quickly. Another side effect though from N-acetylcysteine, and I'll talk about that later, but I'll just leave you with this: nosebleeds, dry eyes, and burning in your chest, feeling like heartburn. So drink sufficient water with N-acetylcysteine, maybe milk, or maybe a couple bites of bread. I'm gluten-free, so I do gluten-free bread, or a couple bites of food to make sure you push that N-acetylcysteine supplement down out of your esophagus into your stomach, because that NAC, that cysteine, can burn, just like the gentleman said from the IV glutathione. The cysteine, or the IV cysteine, burns. And if the capsule opens in your esophagus, it's gonna burn. So drink sufficient water, take the capsule by itself. Don't put 2 or 3 in your mouth, put 1 at a time. So if you want to take more than 500 milligrams, take 1, swallow it, take another, swallow it, okay? Don't take 2 or 3 at a time with NAC. That is just not good. And then take a couple bites of food. But nosebleeds, dry eyes are a factor. Constipation is another factor. And then difficulty breathing can be another one, from air hunger. Again, these are all things that I want to share in a future video, but I just know some of you are going to be buying some N-acetylcysteine and glutathione right now. So I'm going to go back to the NAC. Okay, so if you get the NAC or the glutathione, we changed the name. So this optimal molybdenum drops, it's no longer called that. It's called sulfite X because it breaks down sulfites. Okay, so here's the sulfite X, and because if you look at the glutathione pathway, sulfites are there, and sulfite X is basically molybdenum as molybdenum glycinate chelate, and you don't want to get molybdenum ammonium. Some supplement companies, most in liquids, actually use molybdenum as an ammonia bound. I'm not a fan of that, so we use glycinate. Let's see if we see any reviews on this. Hangover symptoms, all right. Come on, anything about glutathione? Under headaches, oh yeah, my daughter has problems processing sulfur, and a drop of this takes care of them. This product ends her headaches and her constant throat clearing. Throat clearing, I didn't know about that. Interesting. So here, right here, I use the sulfite X to balance her liposomal glutathione. No longer must I smell like sulfur to care for my liver. She likes how she can adjust her dose drop for drop. This individual has a CBS dirty gene, and she suffers from sulfite intolerance. So it's, and this person was allergic to sulfur, and just 1 drop every few days has helped get rid of the headaches. So this is a very, very, very underrated supplement. Very underrated. This stuff should be flying off the shelves for people, but they just don't know. They just don't know that sulfites are such an issue. It's very easy. It just tastes like water too. It's very, very neutral in taste. It's very easy. So if you're getting any glutathione from Seeking Health, or you're getting any N-acetylcysteine from Seeking Health, I would recommend adding a bottle of this to it, and it will last quite some time. There's 600 servings in this bottle, and it's very shelf stable, so it'll last you a long time. It's just good to have in your first aid kit. Okay. All right, all. You're welcome. Yeah, I'm happy about making videos again too. I love the setup here that I've got, thanks to my team helping me out, and thank you, technology. So, but I enjoy making the videos. I enjoy helping you all and answering your questions. So make sure you share these videos. Please give it a like, thumbs up, subscribe, hit the bell so you get notified next time I'm on. I do need to get more regular, so you know when I'm coming on, so you can join. I'll get there. Consistency is not my my cup of tea. I love being creative and just kind of flowing around, but I know that's kind of a pain for you all. But make sure you subscribe, share this channel with other folks, and take a look at the other videos too that I've posted. There's some really good ones in there, and go ahead and comment below on those videos if you have any questions. I'm pretty good about getting back to them as well. All right, take care all. Have a good night.